Good evening, everyone. I am Sir Jude, and today here's the video lecture for our lesson this morning. So let's pick up from where we left off yesterday by analyzing the picture and answering the questions that follow. Let's start with number one. What material is present in letter A? So obviously, what you see in the picture is anatomy of the mantle, and you know that the contents of the mantle is not other than the magma. Number two, in what direction does A1 rotate? So A1 rotates in a counterclockwise position. Number three, in what direction does A2 rotate? A2 rotates in a clockwise position. Number four, what process is depicted in the illustration above? So since most of the picture depicts the mantle, and we assume that below the mantle is the core. And since core is the heat source, we see that the middle, we have warm magma rising. And then at the sides, we have cold magma sinking. So the process depicted above is convection currents, which was our lesson yesterday. Number five, where do convection currents occur? Convection currents occur, as already aforementioned multiple times, inside the mantle. Number six, where is the heat source of convection currents? The heat source of convection currents is the layer below it, and that's none other than core. Okay, so now that we've recapped convection currents, it's time to watch the video for our next lesson. Okay, so what you've seen in the video is that, especially in this region, you see the convection currents, no? So at the left, you have the counterclockwise rotation, and on the right, you have the clockwise rotation. And there are two sets of consequences. So you have here, you have one oceanic crust moving to the left and another oceanic crust moving to the right. So that's oceanic-oceanic divergence. And the other consequence is depicted by this scenario wherein one crust subducts under the other crust. So this is a convergent boundary with subduction. So those specific plate boundaries that we mentioned, oceanic-oceanic divergence and continental oceanic divergence, these are otherwise known as ridge push and slab. So there were a pair of scientists who conceptualized and had an interest on seafloor spreading, and they were credited as, or they were studied by Harry Hammond Hess and Robert Yates. So because of them, we're studying seafloor spreading. That is one of the major, and let's say, important and significant studies when it comes to geology under Earth science. So approximately, the Earth, or rather the seafloor, spreads at 3 centimeters per year. So 3 centimeters out of 365 days, that's too short or too slow, no? And that's good because that allows for lesser impact of earthquakes. Because if it is more than 3 centimeters per year, then we're probably rolling up and down everywhere. Okay. So let's start with the first repercussion of convection currents, which is the separation of two oceanic crusts. So it's a separation, one oceanic crust moves to the left and the other one moves to the right, as evidenced by the direction of the arrows here. All right. So if you see two crusts separating, then the driving stress is none other than tension. The specific plate boundary is oceanic divergence. And the geological formation found at the center is the mid-ocean ridge. So all in all, these descriptions are or denote ridge push or seafloor spreading. Okay? Now, for the other consequence of convection currents, no? So here we have different set of crusts that are involved. So the first one, we have continental crust, which is stationary, not moving because there's no arrow designated to it. And beside the continental crust, or rather below it, is the oceanic crust. And because the oceanic crust collides and subducts under the continental crust, then the driving stress involved is compression. So let's recall, any crust that subducts, usually it's oceanic, no, is because it's heavier compared to the, or denser compared to the continental crust. The specific plate boundary is continental oceanic convergence. And when you see a deep geological formation at the subduction zone, that's what you call the trench. So this specific plate boundary is denoted or otherwise known as slab pull or subduction. And basically that's it on our lesson 4 today. It's time for a recap. All right. So let's point the arrows where convection currents, ridge push, and slab pull happen. Let's start with convection currents because without convection currents, ridge push and slab pull will never happen. So convection currents are represented by the circular arrows there. One moving in the counterclockwise direction and the other one moving in the clockwise direction. Because as you recall, warm magma rises and then cold magma sinks. It's a cycle. Now, when you say ridge push, you have two oceanic crusts separating from each other, and those are represented. That specific plate boundary is represented by the two red arrows, one moving to the left and the other one moving to the right at the top. Okay, slab pull is otherwise known as continental oceanic convergence, wherein the oceanic crust subducts under the continental crust. So whenever you see a crust or an oceanic crust subducting, we call that the slab pull. Okay, so now let's explain how ridge push and slab pull are parallel in the following scenarios. So for those of you who weren't able to grasp this lesson, the moment I lectured it, no, there are some practical applications that do not necessarily involve the continental and oceanic crust that may parallel or mirror ridge push and slab pull. So for example, let's start with conveyor belts. So any of you has done groceries at the mall knows that when you're about to pay at the cashier, you unload your items at the conveyor belt. So when you load your items at the conveyor belt and the conveyor belt starts to move them towards the cashier, no, that's reach push. And once the platform goes down, without your item, obviously, that's slab pull. On the second scenario, you have a chain which is which is sinking because of an anchor being unloaded down the ship. Okay? So when the chain is moving at a straightforward position, that's reach push. And once it descends, because the anchor was unloaded, that's a manifestation of slab pull. And finally, with the escalator scenario, if you are on the platform, whether you're ascending or descending, you're undergoing rage push. And once the platform that you step on finally descends under the floor or under the escalator machine, that's an evidence of slab pull. So this is how these are how ridge push and slab pull are paralleled in scenarios that do not technically involve continental and oceanic crusts. All right. So because we're done with convection currents and ridge push and slab pull, which drive tectonic plates, no? So what will happen if the core is cold? So because convection currents only occur because the core is hot, no? What will happen if the core is cold? So obviously, there will be a lot of repercussions. So there will be no convection currents anymore because the rising of magma and the sinking of magma only happen when the core is hot. If there will be no convection currents, probably there will be no ridge push and slab pull anymore. And if there's no ridge push and slab pull, there will be no plate movement and boundaries as well. The ones that we didn't tackle as well will not probably happen anymore because the plates are stationary and not moving. So as a consequence, there will also be no geological formations, no mountains, mountain ranges, hills, volcanoes, islands, trenches, rift valleys, mid-ocean ridges, and other landforms and waterforms. There's probably a high possibility of no existence of natural disasters because, once again, the crust is not moving anymore. And probably the continents will remain intact together. So we'll probably have a supercontinent wherein all the continents are uh, situated next to each other and not separated by oceans. So it is possible to still live under these circumstances, but the Earth will be geologically dead. So that's it. Basically, if the core is cold, then the entire first quarter of science in grade 10 will be erased because we only discuss these topics only because the core is hot. All right? So tomorrow we will have our performance task involving seafloor spreading. I already uploaded an edited video of myself on how to assemble the improvised seafloor spreading using the shoebox and these seafloor stripe printouts. Okay? But to wrap things up, to conclude this lesson, let's answer this question. If the seafloor spreads out, remember a 3 centimeters per year, approximately, how come the Earth never expands and instead maintains its size? So, when I translate it to Tagalog, kung naghihiwalay ang oceanic crust, how come hindi naman nalaki ang planet Earth at hanggang ngayon, na-maintain pa rin yung kanyang size? Never siyang lumaki, never rin siyang lumiit. The answer lies because of slab pull. So what is it with slab pull that allows the Earth to maintain its size despite the presence of seafloor spreading? Okay, so let's complete the sentence below with the 6 blanks. Okay? So the subducted crust, blank to the blank, melts to blank, is expelled by blank. As blank cools to blank, then the cycle repeats. So the subducted crust will sink, no, bababa to the mantle. And because there's convection currents in the mantle, making it hot, the subducted crust will melt to magma. Once there's enough build up of pressure, magma will be expelled by volcanoes. And as you know, once magma is expelled by volcanoes, it's now called as lava. And once lava cools down at a certain amount of time, it will be cooled to rocks. Then the cycle repeats again. So let me reread the sentence for you. Why is it that the Earth never expands, maintains its size despite the presence of seafloor spreading? So the subducted crust sinks to the mantle. Sorry for the apologies for the misspelling. The subducted crust sinks to the mantle, melts to magma, is expelled by volcanoes as lava cools to rocks, then the cycle repeats. So Earth has a way of geologically recycling its own natural resources. Isn't it great how Earth does not need any human or living accompaniment just to recycle its own natural resources? All right. And there you go. That's Ridge Push and Slab Pull for you. Tomorrow, if we have classes, if there are no suspension classes, we will finally able to assemble your improvised seafloor spreading. See you tomorrow. Stay safe and dry. Goodbye.